Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another cast. Guys, today I have for you a spicy 3v3 game of Escalation on a map called Corrupted, another land map. But the 3v3 at least will be a little bit of a smaller game than the normal Escalation games I cast, which are usually 4v4 or 5v5s, if I can get them to work. But guys, before I jump into this game, I do have a couple of announcements to make. The first announcement is that I am going to start a gaming community for Escalation players on the TAF client. If anybody has seen my tutorial on how to install Total Annihilation, then you will know I only use or advocate the TAF client, but most of the Escalation community is actually still using a program called Game Ranger, which, excuse my French, but is a giant piece of shit, and I want people to get off of that. And another problem with Game Ranger is that the only kind of games you generally see on there are these huge smash your head against the wall, big land map battles, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but I think I myself enjoy casting games which are smaller and that have more varied map types. Different styles of maps are more interesting to me, and I also enjoy casting 1v1 and 2v2 games, which you almost never see in Escalation. So I have just decided to start my own community. So pretty soon I'm going to be making an announcement about gaming nights for Escalation. Any of my viewers are welcome to come. All skill levels are accepted. Everyone is invited. And I will be making a video announcement for that soon. So I'm just trying to get everyone to join us on TAF to play Escalation, because this is a great mod. And I'd like to see some more interesting castable games on water maps and all other kinds of maps than just these same maps we see over and over. And so, just like I started casting TA or Escalation because I couldn't find anyone else to do it, I'm also now going to have to start a community, because if I don't do it, no one else will. So guys, you are invited. Announcement coming soon. Keep your eyes peeled. That is exciting. The other thing that I want to mention, the other announcement, there is going to be a Escalation 2v2 tournament coming up. Here in a few months. I think it'll be in the spring, so probably around March or April. We don't have an exact time yet, but a 2v2 tournament is something that Escalation, I think, I don't think it's ever had one, so that will be super exciting. Look out for that. That'll be some awesome games to cast, and that'll be very different from what I'm normally casting. So, okay, I got the announcements out of the way. Let's jump into the game here. This is a 3v3 on a map called Corrupted. Already Mr. Light Blue Reaper is surrounding this con with some Jeffies, and this con will be trying to run for its life, but it looks like Red's con will probably die. Not the greatest micro here by Light Blue. I think he could have easily killed that. So guys, that is one of the disadvantages, I guess, of playing OTA. Your micro does have to be on point sometimes. You can't really just... It's not like Forged Alliance, which is much more automated. Bar, also a little more automated. And OTA, you really need to be on top of your clicking and on your micromanagement if you want to play at the highest potential that you are capable of. So, yep. It does seem like Light Blue definitely could have gotten this con pretty easily. Where is it? That one. But he just was paying attention to other things. He was managing his base. There's a lot going on. So, ultimately, it won't amount to much. Let's go ahead and introduce the players. Dark green here, Mr. No Rules, bottom right core. Here in red, we have Stag, Arm going K-Bots. Yellow, we have Lemon Kanan, the core commander, went vehicles, and actually sending a few Instigators straight up the north. And blue, we have... I don't know if I've seen this guy, Robbo. I don't know. I don't know who that is. It could be a Smurf. In brown, we have Perfect Dark. And in light blue, of course, we have Reaper. So those are our 6 players. And we're going to have to see what kind of game they want to... what kind of performance they want to give us. Will they entertain us in a gladiator style? You know, as viewers, we want to be entertained here. This is why we are watching. Brown has lost 1 K-bot. Nice job by yellow finding those cons that are just sort of out in the open without protection. So anytime you can get cons early on, it is usually worth it. In Escalation, cons are kind of expensive, but not only that, they have a long build time. And so replacing them does mean that your factories are not able to pump out those very important military units that will often keep you in the game. So very, very nicely done by our yellow player getting a couple of those cons. We'll have to see if it makes much of a difference. And the last time I casted this map, which was really not that long ago, might have been the last Escalation game I casted, the southern team had an advantage early on, and they slowly pushed that advantage into a victory. I never felt like that game was a stalemate. It was the southern team had an advantage from the very get-go, and they slowly pushed the northern team until they collapsed, or they slowly they slowly caused the normal team, the north team, to crumble. So we'll have to see if this game plays out in a similar way. But to be honest, the northern team has not been as damaged as they were last time. Even with yellow's raiding, it wasn't that impactful. Though this gold player, I don't know, he may be kind of new because what he's doing is a little strange here. He needs to take all the metal. He's going on 3 different factories, but there's no way he has the resources to sustain this right now. Or did I say gold? I think this is brown. But either way, this brown player just doing a lot of weird things. He's building metal makers even though he doesn't have the energy to convert into metal. And he's got 3 factories even though he doesn't have the resources to produce from 3 factories. So, guys, there are newer players. I know it seems like all the people left playing OTA are pros, but this is certainly proof that that is not the case. There are plenty of newer or less experienced players that play these games, and typically people are pretty nice to them. We tend not to try to chase away our community. We want to have the community grow, so people will try to be nice if they can. Excluding Wotan, he's just mean to everybody. Wotan is he's a cruel human being. And now Brown building a metal storage here because he can't use his metal because he doesn't have energy, but he continues to build metal makers which are taking the energy that he doesn't have, or what little energy he does have. He is trying to get a geo, and once he gets his geo up, that will help his energy production problems. But he needs to have more than just 1 constructor on it if he wants to get that done anytime this century. So, yeah, Brown, I think probably the least experienced player here. He's doing some very strange things. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean he can't contribute. He will eventually fix his energy and hopefully be able to participate in the game. But I'd like to see him take these metal spots that are unclaimed. You don't want to just let free metal float around on the map without taking it. All the resources that you can get are definitely going to help. So in this game, I definitely think the Southern team has an advantage just because they've made better use of their resources and they have taken more of the map. As you can see, the Southern team now starting to take the middle of the map as well, and so that's pretty important on this map if you can hold the middle. That is always a nice advantage. Holding the middle means you get extra metal. There's geo spots here, and of course, great position as well. You can send tactical nukes over the hills here. You can do drops over the hills. You can ferry units over these little mountains. So holding the middle has a lot of advantages. So the Southern team definitely has at least a small advantage in this game, but nothing outrageous at this point. Let's go ahead and look at the player bases again. Red now on T2 K-Bot, pumping out Zeus. Yellow also on T2 K-Bot for core. And dark green also on T2 K-Bot for core. Light blue working on T2. And dark blue on T2 for arm. So blue saying in the chat, expect no rules to bomb very soon. No rules being dark green. So blue expects dark green to commit to a bombing attempt, but little does he know that dark green doesn't even have an aircraft plant, so there will be no bombing happening in the near future. Maybe someday we'll see some bombers coming out from this player, but right now, nothing of note as both sides just begin to build up their bases on maps like this. You know, these big team game maps are often lots of lulls in the action as the players defend their own sides. Okay. So anyway, yeah, in these kinds of games, it often is the case that we will see lulls in the battle because reaches a point where both teams have difficulty breaking through and they're focusing more on upgrading their production and economy. So that is another reason that sometimes these bigger team games are less interesting to cast. In the smaller 1v1 and 2v2 games, typically there's more action happening more often, as the games can be very back and forth and much closer. Much more action-packed than the team games. Of course, there's some advantages to team games too. You typically see them go to like T3 and sometimes T4, which is always really fun to watch, kind of like a Michael Bay movie. But Reaper now with the first bombing run of the game. A few thunders here flying down. We'll target this Geo, but I don't think one bomber is going to make much of a dent. And no, it does not. So that bomber will unfortunately be sent to the afterlife. And Brown has spent all this time building these Geos. Red unceremoniously taking them off the map, sending Brown back into an economic tailspin as the northern team now sending some counters here to these Zeusai, trying to kill them, these Zeus. And the Zeuses will eventually die, but they have inflicted some damage. Still, you can kind of see on the map there's a giant gaping hole of a very phallic-looking dimension here that has been carved into the northern team's base, and that will stop them from, well, it will stop them from being able to produce as many resources as the southern team. Stag continuing to do some work with these Zeuses. Very well played. You know, it's interesting. His army is not very. It's not very complex. He doesn't even have air defense or anything. Now building Fido or Fidos. So I'd like to see him throw in just a couple of AA units. Let's see what they're called. The partisan. I'd like to see a couple partisan in here just to deal with those freedom fighters. Generally, in TA, having a mix of, at least in Escalation, having a mix of units is the best strategy. It's not always the case. There are certainly situations. That just spamming one unit is good, but I think the way Escalation is designed, having a mix of units, having a variety, does tend to work better. And Lemon Kanan, our yellow player here, is one of the best Escalation players there is right now. So with him and Stag on the same team, this could be a very one-sided game. Certainly the southern team is favored just in terms of player skill. Brown has not been really wowing me at all. But that doesn't mean that the lesser skilled team can't win. But very nice use of Dominators here. And using their special fire as well. Now remember, in Escalation, Dominators shoot in a front-facing or horizontal fashion unless you use their special attack. And light blue with some Panthers moving down here. Try to see what work he can get done on these Fidos. The Fidos are very, very strong in clumps. And Lemon Kanan also has some instigators on the field. So right now, the southern team, I think, fully in control. They have control of the middle, and economically they are doing better. Definitely have the better players. Typically, when you play, when we do these big team games of Escalation, the teams are just chosen at random. It's really not the best way to choose teams in a mod like this. But in a huge game, it's just not really common for teams to do captains, where, like, you know, captains would take turns picking players. That is one advantage of TAF. The TA Forever client will automatically try to balance the teams based on players' skill. Now you don't have to use that feature, but it is a nice, it is a cool feature built into the game. Of course, it only really works if you play on TAF enough to get an accurate rating of your own skill level. So, but it is a cool feature because it can prevent these kinds of games that turn into very one-sided stomps. But I wouldn't say that's what this game is yet. Certainly the southern team has the superior players. But let's not count the northern team out. They've done a decent job of hanging on. I'm just saying it would be quite an upset if the northern team did win here, because the southern team definitely has the talent. Let's see what Dark Green's doing. Dark Green, mostly I think just ecoing up. He hasn't really been contributing. Red and yellow doing all the heavy lifting here. But it's a little frustrating because if Dark Green were to contribute some military of his own, with all three of these players combined, they could probably push through either here on the east side or maybe even through this crevice. That's one of the things about team games. You typically have at least one or more players that are just sort of playing Sim City. They're not really contributing, not helping the team. They have the idea that they'll help later once they have a raging economy, but it's often the case that they never actually do help. They're just sort of building eco to help them build more eco and an endless feedback loop of building eco. And that problem tends to exacerbate itself even more and the more players you have. So in 4v4 and 5v5 games, it's even more of a problem of one or two players just sort of ignoring the team and ignoring the game and just playing a SimCity on their own. And then the rest of the team has to they have to take all the responsibility on actually defending and attacking and playing the game, basically. So that is another reason that casting these big games can be somewhat frustrating, because in a 1v1 and a 2v2 you just can't do that. Like in a smaller game, you have to participate, you have to defend and attack, or you'll lose very quickly. It's just not possible to really do what we're seeing here of just building nothing but eco for 60 minutes or more. But yeah, like I said, if green was contributing, I think we might actually get to see the southern team pushing through one of these entrances. And I'm not sure how these units got here. I don't know if there was a transport I missed. Yeah, I'm not sure how brown got these units here, but nonetheless, red taking a bit of an aggressive posture against these bulldogs. However, a single ambusher will make any kind of aggression onto this eastern position very difficult. And Lemon Cannon now with some nice diplomats, attempting to maybe hit some of the crucial structures over the wall here. The diplomat range is pretty impressive. And there's some Merles as well doing it on the other side. Blue has given a warning to his team that there are things incoming mid. However, this little narrow entryway is difficult to gain passage through because, of course, this giant rock in the middle. Corpses begin to pile up, and it is difficult to break through here, even with minimal defense. You can create a 300 Spartan-style situation in which it doesn't really matter how many forces your enemy has. It just becomes difficult or impossible to break through here. So typically the eastern approach is the better option. However, this ambusher and these bulldogs will make that option more difficult as well. And as you can see, a lot of the phyto shells just hitting this rock instead of their targets, so there's a lot of really difficult, a lot of problems with attacking through this approach here in the center. And again, this ambush will be very difficult to deal with. Good use of Merles by light blue, taking out some of dark green's eco and his air defense. And yeah, once again, dark green not really participating, not really helping his team at all. Just playing the game on his own. I guess he has built a few cans, so I take that back. I won't say he hasn't done nothing, but the cans, he just sent them in to die, so they didn't achieve too much. And red with a couple brawlers, but he's going to need more than 2 brawlers to make a dent in this ambusher. And once again, sending his phytos into this wall of tanks and the ambusher and Merles as well. I just don't think that's a good option here. Can he kill this ambusher in time? It's already at about 2/3 health. Bulldogs will come back in, which will force the fighters to retreat, and they will barely not kill this ambusher. It is still alive. See how many kills it has. 5 kills already. And now light blue with some nice Freedom Fighter micro. However, there are bulwarks there, which are the arm hybrid defense, and these can take down the Freedom Fighters. So light blue needs to be careful. He's not accomplishing too much there, and he's going to lose all those very quickly. Dark green sending a few cans in again, but they're just too slow to really accomplish much, and not enough of a force to really be participating. This ambusher inflicting massive amounts of damage. Each shot from the ambusher so devastating and killing tons of Fidos. But the Fidos are doing okay. They've taken out most of the bulldogs. And this ambusher is being repaired slowly, but it looks like it will eventually die. So nice job by Red applying that pressure slowly until its defensive line finally breaks. Very, very nice job by Stag in general, or just by Stag in particular. Finally, a sumo on the field. Now, a sumo will be very useful. I have called sumos the king of T2 for core. The sumo is the king of T2 for core, and the penetrator is the king of T2 for arm. It's like the T2.5, the late T2 stage units. So these units are quite impressive at this stage of the game, and if Dark Green could actually start pumping a lot of those out, he would definitely be contributing much more to the game than he has. But right now, it's sort of been a one-man show. Red doing all the work by himself. Lemon Cannon is, however, taking over most of the mid, so he's at least controlling this area and building up a force, preventing the northern team from streaming through here. But the northern team has a serious problem because these Fidos are now streaming in, and light blue has decided to go to T3 instead of building defenses. So you know when you watch like a boxing match, and at the beginning of the match the referee says, you know, defend yourself at all times. You know, don't just take punches to the face. Oh, hold that thought. Perfect Dark has airdropped a huge army of Mavericks at the 11th fucking hour because light blue was about to lose everything. So this is an example of teammates actually helping each other. Very, very nice job by Brown here to defend his teammate. I mean, light blue was dead. He had nothing. He had nothing to defend himself. Brown, the MVP here, flying in to help his teammate, dropping off all those Mavericks. However, Stag with a nice batch of brawlers. He has found some undefended areas in the back line of light blue's base. And here come the Freedom Fighters to try and break this up. But it will take a little bit of time for Freedom Fighters to kill brawlers. However, Stag's control is not great here. Stag needs to just pick a target and stick with it. And he has finally decided that the target will be the Ultra Vehicle plant. But yeah, Stag not actually killing anything. He could have at least killed these Mohos, or flown over here maybe and killed his fusions and a chain reaction. But yeah, Stag being pretty indecisive there, and ultimately it will cost him because he never did really choose a target. Very, very nice job again by Brown. I just have to keep saying this. Brown coming to help his teammate in the nick of freaking time. Light blue was just not defending himself. He was just going straight to T3. Fuck the police. I don't care. It's your guys' job to defend me. So definitely he was relying on his teammates to protect him there as he forced a T3 rush. But in fairness, he will get it. I mean, I don't think he's the first player to get it, as Lemon Cannon is already on T3 and has an arbitrator already on the field. So guys, the arbitrator, here's its first missile that I've seen. The arbitrator is like a tactical nuke launcher, an experimental tactical nuke launcher, except the tactical nukes cannot be blocked. It can't be shot down by anti-nukes. So the arbitrator is almost like the perfect siege weapon. They have a huge range, and given enough time, they will tear apart any base. They have sort of a long reload time, so arbitrator is not without weaknesses. It has no close range weapons either. It is very slow and vulnerable, but my god, it is the ideal siege weapon. The arbitrator, one of the coolest units in the game, in my opinion. Of course, nobody asked for my opinion, but I'm going to give it anyway, as this arbitrator continues to wreak havoc on the northern team's base, and the northern team doing the best they can. Nice team play there. And light blue will make it to T3, but will it matter? As Lemon Cannon was already on T3, and now with this arbitrator pressure, will slowly, I think, pick apart blue's southern base here. But Brown has something to say about this. He has a nice composition of tossers, Mavericks, spiders. Oh my. Nice combination of units. Like I said earlier in the cast, a good combination of units will generally get you farther. And but dark green with these sumos, a good defense, a nice wall here. And will these sumos be enough to stop this push? We'll have to see. A couple cans too. Mavericks do a ton of damage, and the spiders can't paralyze their targets. But red also with some Fidos of his own and some bulwark defenses. So even though this was a nicely designed army, he is getting 2v1'd here by both red and dark green, and that will push him back, at least for the moment. But blue with a huge contingent of Merles trying to break this front entrance, perhaps so they can push through on their own. And Lemon Cannon sending some scouts through the northwest corner of the map. And up, the big Bertha is on the field. I think that was just completed. 3 kills, yeah. So this thing was just finished recently. But, man, this arbitrator continuing to dole out punishments to the to Blue's base and army. As this intimidator will also be a huge problem. It looks like it's targeting this ultra vehicle plant, which explains why it's at about half health. Ooh, a nice hit there. Very, very well played by yellow. As this intimidator could kill Blue's ultra vehicle plant, that would be such a disaster for him. He is repairing it, and perhaps he can repair it more quickly than the intimidator can kill it. But the intimidator will also be killing the advanced construction vehicles sometimes as well. So that is a terrible situation to be in. Guys, one thing is you don't see long-range plasma cannons enough in Escalation. So I'm glad you see them a lot more in Pro TA, because in Pro TA you don't really have T3. There is, except for the Krogoth. But T3 isn't much of a thing in Pro TA, and so you often see Intimidators at this stage of the game, the late stage, the mid to late stage. But you don't see them as much in this mod because typically players will just rush to T3 and ignore the long-range plasma cannons. But you can see that they are so effective. He may get this ultra vehicle plant. It is a sliver. It is at a sliver of a sliver of a sliver of health. I think that last shot may kill it. Nope. It's just surviving. He's repairing it just enough to keep it alive, but I think it's only going to take one or two more shots here. And Blue moving all of his cons away, knowing that this thing, it's just a matter of time. So, again, all of that with one Intimidator. Very well played by Lemon Cannon. We don't see enough of these in Escalation, so very, very happy to see it in this game as Yellow playing out of his mind here. 2 Arbitrators at the front now, laying down that endless barrage of tactical nuke goodness. So, very nicely done. And that will definitely put the Southern team even more ahead than they already were. Because losing that T3 factory, T3 land factory of Blues is going to be quite a devastating punch to the gut. Yellow, in addition to being on T3 K-Bots, is working on a second Ultra K-Bot gantry and an Ultra Aircraft hangar. So Lemon Cannon, he's got his finger in a number of pies. He is teching to anything and everything that he can get his grubby little hands on. And again, the Northern team doing a nice job of defending, but they've definitely been behind for a while now as the Southern team is both economically ahead and ahead positionally as well. But Blue pushing these Merles through, and I don't think that's a good idea. Nice group of Widows here at the entrance. We'll push all that back. Let's see how many kills these Arbitrators have. 15 kills on that one and 35 kills on that one, so you can see these Arbitrators have been a nasty, nasty thorn in the Northern team's side. However, these Widows now getting a bit mowed down by all the Merle missiles. It's impressive. Very impressive indeed. Very impressive indeed by the Northern team, continuing to hang on here. Cling to dear life as the Southern team definitely in the advantageous position economically and militarily. And also, Yellow has built the Umbra. He takes umbrage with what the Northern team is doing and the fact that they refuse to die despite the impressive use of Arbitrators. Brown frantically pinging this Arbitrator, begging his team to kill it. And I can see why these Arbitrators are nothing if not a nuisance. But now this Decimator will make its way onto the field. The Decimator is like your typical sci-fi Independence Day UFO. the beam coming out of the bottom of the ship. Simply melt anything below it. Can it get to this ultra vehicle plant in time? Not quite. There was just enough air defense there by Brown to keep Light Blue from losing his T3 plant yet again. So wow, that was close. That was very, again, Brown saving Light Blue from certain death. It's unbelievable how much Brown has carried Light Blue in this game. Light Blue has been... earlier in the game, I thought it was Light Brown that was going to be the... what's the word I'm looking for? I thought Light Brown was going to be the weakest link. I thought Light Brown would be the player that was going to be kind of useless. But in the end, it turns out that Light Blue hasn't really been doing too much for the Northern team. He's sort of the equivalent to Dark Green. Just kind of playing his own game, not really contributing too much. Aside from a couple sumos, Dark Green hasn't done much either. He's built this Intimidator, but I don't even think this Intimidator will be in range for much. It can maybe kill a few defenders, but it's just not going to do much to help anyone else except himself. It might protect him from an attack or something, but yeah. The long-range harassment shenanigans continues, as it looks like one arbitrator was killed, probably by the Merles. And now, Lemon Cannon upgrading his Intimidator to a Buzzsaw. And nice use of Merles here. They are slowly killing this arbitrator. And one arbitrator has already died. And when this Buzzsaw completes... it could turn into a situation where Southern team's entire base in this area just gets demolished very quickly. But Red has left the game. Stag has left the game. We don't know why. It was probably just that he crashed. Didn't say anything in the chat. He either crashed or his internet dropped or something like that. So kind of sad nation. Stag definitely one of the players in this game contributing the most. Certainly in the mid-game he was doing a lot with his Fido pushes. And now he was also working on a Raptor, which it looks like Lemon Cannon will take over that project. Lemon Cannon with his second Decimator on the field. This time heading straight for the Ultra Vehicle plant, but once again will fall just short. Literally another couple seconds, another few seconds, and this Ultra Vehicle plant would have died a fiery death. However, the Buzzsaw has been found. The Merles are targeting it, and they need to kill this. The Buzzsaw has just been finished, but it looks like it's going to die right before it can do much, right before it can really affect much on the battlefield. Blue finding it and killing it just in time, so a great defense by the Northern team with inferior units. They have managed to take out 2 arbitrators and a Buzzsaw, all T3 units. So to my viewers that say that T2 cannot beat T3, I am willing to disagree with you there, because Blue has done an amazing job of countering what Lemon Cannon was doing here. And now both Blue and Light Green with a couple of Chimera on the front line. The Chimera, the armed T3 Lightning Tank. We don't see these very often. I'm not sure why. I think because the Lightning Tank is sort of overshadowed by some other options that we see more often. Typically at T3 people go K-Bot more often than vehicle. So that's one reason. But nonetheless, these Chimera are sort of a jack of all trades. They have a lot of health and do a decent amount of damage at a pretty large range. Not great at anything though. They just are a well-rounded T3 assault tank. But they're doing okay here. They've made some dents in the defenses of yellow. And then they need to kill this Annihilator though, because this Annihilator is going to deal a lot of damage to them. Yellow pushing through here with these fighters that made it through the pass, but it won't accomplish too much, taking out some defenses and maybe a mechs or two. But both these Chimera will survive after taking out the defenses, but now they're too low to really progress much further. And the Bastion is on the field. Demolisher is the ARM T3 Tachyon tank. You can sort of think of it like a T3 penetrator. Shoots a massive ion beam at a huge range. So, man, I am amazed that the Northern team is not only still in this, they have pushed back everything that Yellow and Red have thrown at them, but not only that, they are thriving. They're actually maybe even pulling ahead. However, the first Raptor of the game has been made, and the Raptor is basically like a T3.5 style unit. So this Raptor could certainly accomplish a lot if used correctly. It will need to be, I think, supported a little bit. The Raptor is kind of like a one-man army. The Raptor can achieve a lot on its own, but if you support it, you can magnify its effectiveness by tenfold. So if Yellow can protect this Raptor properly, it looks like it's having some pathing issues. Just Lemon Cannon just like, let me out of the base. So finally the Raptor will make it out of the production bay. And this Raptor could be very effective if he sends it up the right side. The Northern team now attempting to repair these Chimera, which is a good use of resources. If you can repair your T3, it's generally worth the investment. T3 is expensive, and if you repair it, it can get veterancy and live to fight another day. So I think a lot of it's going to hinge on what this Raptor can accomplish. The Demolisher will outrange it. I'd like to see Yellow supporting this Raptor. Like I said, I don't think one Raptor alone will be enough to do it. But a Raptor backed up with some air support, or perhaps artillery, or certainly anti-air would be ideal. You don't want it to be... The Raptors don't have any anti-air. Yeah, and even this Buzzsaw, yeah, a Raptor supported by a Buzzsaw could even be useful. Or use the Buzzsaw to kind of soften up the opponent's defense before sending the Raptor in. Either way, I don't think the Raptor on its own will be enough. So I'd like to see Lemon Cannon supporting it. I don't want to just see it. I don't want to see him just send it in to die. That would be quite disappointing. If only Dark Green were doing anything. I mean, if only Dark Green were in the game and not just a bot. Except worse than a bot, because the bots actually send units at the enemy. Some scouts flying over, so the Northern team will be aware of the Raptor now, I think. Yep, Reaper has pinged it, so they know that the Raptor is there. And that will most likely cause them to begin beefing up their defenses. They do not want to let this Raptor just walk into their base uncontested. The second Buzzsaw is now completed. So the first buzzsaw didn't really get to achieve much before it was unceremoniously killed. But perhaps the second buzzsaw will see a little more use. I don't know what yellow's doing though. He's separating his raptor from his widows. I don't really like this. I'd like to see him keep the raptor together with his army. As you can see, that Demolisher is targeting the raptor, and each shot will do a nice amount of damage. It won't kill it instantly, but over time, the Demolisher can kill T3 units. It has a very large range, and its shots can't really be blocked by terrain. However, Brown has built 3 Auroras. I haven't even been watching what Brown is doing, so in the early game, I was talking all this trash about Brown, and holy cow, has he proven me wrong. Brown has just defended his teammates like an absolute freaking god, and now just flying around with 3 Auroras. So Brown really has, he has made quite a comeback in this game. What an impressive use of Auroras there, taking out that raptor before it can achieve almost anything. And now Lemon Cannon sending some more scouts. So guys, I'm starting to feel like the northern team is slowly gaining the advantage in this game. You know, 10 minutes ago, I wouldn't have said that. 10 minutes ago, I definitely would have said the southern team has the advantage, but with Stagnation leaving and with Brown's amazing defense with those Auroras, and these 2 Chimera are now full health, things are starting to look a little bit dire for the southern team. However, we can't count Lemon Cannon out. He's one of our best players. This chainsaw is online. So the chainsaw, I think, just took out a T3 factory. I wasn't watching, but I think there was a factory here. This chainsaw is going to start causing severe damage of all sorts to the northern team's hapless base, I think. As Lemon Cannon sends more scouts through to find those targets. This would be a nice target right here. This would be a juicy target. Unfortunately, I don't know if the buzzsaw can actually reach that far. Oh my god. Yes, it can. The buzzsaw range is much longer, I think, than it is in Protea. That is impressive. That is an impressive range. So it can hit pretty much anything except for light blue's base. However, Brown not willing to take this sitting down. He is going to finally send in his massive aerial armada. 3 Auroras in one place. I don't think I've ever seen that in all my time casting. I don't think I've ever seen 3 Auroras at once. I've seen 3 Auroras in succession, but not all at the same time. This is just a thing of beauty. Look at all of that air superiority. Oh, and here come the Aurora bombs. Beautiful. There is just not much in the world that is more satisfying. Watching the Auroras drop their bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, sending their opponents back to the proverbial Stone Age. Oh my god, could he get... Oh! Oh, you love to see it. Get fucked, Dark Green. Not only did you do nothing this whole game, but you died like the chode that you are. What a performance. Oh my gosh. And Perfect Dark calling Dark Green faggot breath in the chat. Well deserved. I have to say, he deserved. That was, oh my god. What a performance by Brown. And here I was calling him a new player. But I have just eaten my words. Somebody come and rinse my mouth out with soap. Holy freaking cow. Brown, you absolute god gamer. Blue sending in quite a few peepers here. This game has been a treat. This game has just been a treat. I have to say that. Thank you, Wotan, for sharing this with me, this game. Absolutely fantastic. Just so much back and forth. So much great team play from both sides. And Brown with his Aurora Micro. The cherry on top of the cake there. Cherry on top of the pie. I guess you don't put cherries on cakes, but in this game you do. In this game, you put cherries on cakes. And now, light blue with a Stratus. And unfortunately, yellow doesn't have any air defense here at the front line. Stratus will be able to fly around with near impunity. Even the Raptor can't, I don't think, do much. So, holy cow, I can't believe the northern team has gone from a position where I would have said not that long ago that was unwinnable to taking out the useless dark green player. Oh my god. But having said that though, having said all of that, this Buzzsaw continuing to cause severe trauma to the northern team's base. 36 kills, and all of those kills pretty significant, I think. Yellow's sending through a Vindicator here. Trying to get something done, probably looking to snipe a commander. But without much air support, this Vindicator will die very quickly. It's just a matter of what you can do. Now, the Vindicator achieves almost nothing. However, the Buzzsaw continuing to inflict damage, continuing to take out T3 plants all over the map. But again, yeah, Lemon Cannon's Vindicator there. Not really the sort of Chad that it might have been. So I have to say, Lemon Cannon has been economically the strongest player this whole game, but some of his attacks have been questionable. He's just been sending things in without much support. He sent in that Raptor without much support earlier. That last attack of Raptors and Widows, there was no air defense, and then he sends in the Vindicator without much support either. And Brown has rebuilt these Auroras, each one with over 10 kills. And now, oh no, there's just not much air defense on this eastern side. Already, oh, these Auroras, so disgusting to watch. Oh my goodness. Somebody sell my organs to a con man in North Korea. That was disgusting. Lemon Cannon in a horrible, horrible position this game. And like I said, it's not that Lemon Cannon couldn't have won, but his attacks have just been super ineffective. It's like electric versus rock in Pokemon. Just not effective at all. Super ineffective. Super, super ineffective. And now the Stratus has made its way into the back of Lemon Cannon's base, taking out even more T3 fusions. Oh yeah, Lemon Cannon is DED dead. What a game this has been. What a game. The Northern team, absolute chads. How did it end like this? Oh my God. Forgive my language, this game. What a game. What a game. Seeing Dark Green die was the most satisfying thing I've ever experienced in my life. I could just die happy. I'm good. I've done everything I want to do. My bucket list has been achieved. Thank you, Brown. The Aurora Micro, absolutely incredible. Very well played by both sides. And again, it just goes to show that T3 isn't everything. Blue held off yellow with basically Merles for the longest time, keeping the Northern team in the game long enough for Brown to build up that huge clump of T3 bombers. So very, very well played by both sides. I honestly think Lemon Cannon could have won, but he just needed a better composition. So when he sent in his armies, he needed some T3 air defense. The T3 anti-air vehicles or K-bots would have been fine there to protect him. But over and over, just sending in his units unsupported or doing these attacks like the one he did with the Vindicator just didn't achieve much. So guys, what a game. Thank you for sharing, Wotan. And join my Discord if you haven't. I will put the link in the description. And see you in the next cast.